Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of Interplanetary I Spy going on here, back on Mars, back in Gale Crater, and we are on Sol 1369, and the image we're looking at is here. Links will be below in the description as usual, and the area we're looking at is just here near the center of the image. Right, now I'm going to be real quick with this. This anomaly was first posted by Rami Bar-Ilan on Mars, I think, on Mars Discovery's page here, but also on probably a few other pages. This was a few days ago. So full credit to Rami for this. As usual, he's come up trumps. He's one of the best keen-eyed sort of anomaly researchers we have in the world, I think, and comes up trumps again and again, and often finds the most interesting objects and shapes and things on the surface. So nice one to him. Check out his new Facebook group here, which is called Pyramids. It's a public group. Some really cool stuff on here. He's been posting lots of stories and articles there, so check that out. And keep an eye on this stuff, because he does come up with some of the best stuff. So fair shout to Rami. Let's crack on with it. I've got some very quick enhancements I've done here. First I will show you the raw clip. And you can see here what looks like some kind of worm, or perhaps some kind of plant sticking up here that seems to have a nose and two eyes for some reason. Doesn't mean they are, just it looks like that. Doesn't mean they are eyes and a nose, of course. And some kind of weird leaf type structure here. Now this is quite a close-up of the area. This is only literally a couple of inches tall, this thing. Certainly no more than 3 inches tall. I would say nearer 2, actually, possibly 1.5 even. This is very small, but because I've zoomed in and cropped it, it looks big. It's not. Believe me, when you see the, let's look at the entire image again. You can see that the rover is very close to the ground here, looking straight down almost at an angle, and this thing is literally only about 1.5 inches, 2 inches tall. Okay, there it is. And you can see the shadow of the object being cast over here, with a rather large area in the middle of the shadow, which corresponds to this leaf-like structure. Now this leaf-like structure is hard to see because it's the same colour as the background, and it's kind of fudged out, and we can't really see a lot of detail there. The camera's failed to pick it up, and also the image has been downgraded, so we've lost detail here. Okay, so the only thing you can do to restore the detail really is to enhance the image. You need to, what I've done here is given it a bit of Gaussian blur to get rid of the pixelation. I've enlarged it, I've color corrected it, and I've added contrast. Okay, that's it. And you can see, rather strangely, this thing, whatever it is, seems to have an eyelid here and another eyelid here and a nose. What could that be? Is it some kind of snake? Is it some kind of weird sort of worm-like creature that's dried out and fossilized or something? Is it a plant? Now, I found what looked like lots of similar things on Mars, in this, not far from here, in this area, and a lot of them seem to have eyes and noses and sort of things like this. It's very odd indeed. Could this be some kind of aquatic plant that's fossilized, like some kind of coral, with some coral-like leaf-like structures here? Just here? I don't know. What is it? It's very strange, very intriguing, and there's no harm in speculation, of course. And if any of you have got any idea what it might be, please leave a comment, because I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to guess. Judging by what I've already seen in this area, there's lots of weird little ventifacts and objects sticking up out of the ground. Now, you would think, being a ventifact, that it would have eroded more evenly and would just be a kind of a blobbish shape sticking up, wouldn't you? Not an intricate, detailed object like this sticking up out of the ground. Could it be a plant? Could this be a branch? Could it be some kind of mechanical object that's sticking out of the ground and is largely buried? I have found lots of similar things like this, similar kind of size and shape. But this one was really cool because it has a head with what look a bit like eyes and a nose, which is just insane. Now, we don't know much or anything about the possible plants and life, the lower level life forms on Mars. There could have been some kind of weird hybrid creatures that were kind of half plant, half animal, almost like coral, or like some of the sea creatures we have, which are kind of somewhere in between. And there may have been some very, very different creatures there that we absolutely have no idea of. So we have to speculate, and we have to look at the details, and we have to compare these to things we have. We can only compare them to things we have down here. And I'm not claiming I know everything about these things. I'm just saying we've got to use a bit of common sense and try and work out what we're looking at. You often see things on Mars that look like plants and animals, or a cross between the two, and some of them look like biomechanical machinery even. So there is a lot of these things on Mars, and this is a very good example of it. I don't know what it is, but it looks interesting, and this particular part of the image here looks like some kind of leaf structure. It does remind me slightly of the cacti type thing I found a couple of years back. There's loads of similar things. I've got my page up here. Let's have a quick look. It reminds me a bit of this little possible insect pupa that I published only a few weeks back. It's very similar. It's a bit but larger. This insect pupa, possible insect pupa thing here, is only a few millimeters high, whereas the thing we're looking at today is probably 2 inches, 1 or 2 inches. And it's also a bit similar to this strange Martian critter thing, which I think some kind of fungi growing on some petrified wood. It's a bit similar to that. And it's also a bit similar to this possible Mars gearbox. I mean, it's probably not a gearbox, but this strange object looks like a gearbox with a mechanical arm sticking up. So this may well be some kind of ventifact. It may well be mechanical. There are lots of little weird blobby kind of rocks here that have been eroded, and sort of clay deposits here that have broken into interesting shapes. So it could just be random. It could just be completely random. I don't know. I cannot prove it either way. But it's interesting nonetheless. And to me, looks like some kind of living creature or plant that has dried out and become encrusted, perhaps with sediment and clay and hardened. Who knows? Any ideas, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching, everybody. Links will all be below as usual. I will see you soon.